Girls Und Panzer has a very large cast of characters. Orai's team on its own, as of das Finale, includes 34 characters, and that's not even getting to all of the great recurring characters from the other schools. Of course, with a cast this large, the show needs to be very selective when it comes to managing screen time, character development, etc. So, some characters get much more screen time than others, and more focus from a story perspective. It's no surprise that characters like Miho, Hana, and Yukari get more focus. However, Girls Und Panzer does a very good job at giving solid characterization, development, and big moments to almost everyone to varying extents, though sometimes this isn't super obvious to the casual or first-time viewer. So, while I will of course eventually do character analysis videos for more obvious main characters like Miho, I'd like to spend a little more time giving the spotlight to characters who are also very important, but don't get quite as much direct focus. Although, today's target for our analysis, Anzu Kadotani, is definitely one of the more prominent supporting cast members, but she's just such a fun and interesting character that I had to start with her. Also, it's only fair to start with the president herself, right? She's also one of my favorite characters, so there's that too. She's far more than just the smug, small slacker she might appear to be at first glance. I'll be discussing stuff involving her throughout the series for this analysis, so beware of spoilers if you're not caught up on Girls Und Panzer. This is a good year to catch up, by the way, since das Finale Part 4 is coming to theaters in Japan this year, soon I think, and then to those of us located elsewhere, about 6 months later with the DVD release. That said, let's get into her character analysis. As I discussed a bit in my video on the introduction of the Student Council, the show pulls a bit of a fast one on us at first with Anzu. At first glance, she could come off as a manipulative, devious, borderline bully Student Council president. Well, a lot of that is actually kind of accurate, except for the bully part, of course. Anzu uses her deviousness and manipulative skills for good, as we learn over the course of both Season 1 and their film. In a nutshell, probably the best way to describe Anzu's personality is as someone who presents a very casual, almost blasé attitude, but who does in fact deeply care about the people around her, and who is almost always focused on task, despite appearances. She's a leader who knows very well how to delegate tasks, but also when it's time for her to take direct action. And when she does take direct action, she means business. But at the same time, she's able to stay relaxed most of the time, and understands the importance of allowing time for play, as well as work. We get to see both these sides of her during Season 1, though, early on, we see more of her outward lackadaisical attitude. It's often played for laughs, such as when she decides she'll sit and wait while the other teams go out and look for tanks, her letting Yuzu clean their tank on her own, or her just sitting in the tank, lounging and snacking on her sweet potatoes during a match. Most of the time, a character acting like this would probably get a little annoying, but she's cute and charismatic enough that it's more endearing than anything else. Also, having already seen a different side of her in Episode 1 helps, since we know there's more to her already. In a way, we start learning more about Anzu and the person she is at roughly the same pace as we learn about the story itself. Over the first couple episodes, things are more relaxed, as she is, and we don't really have a sense yet, beyond a few little hints, at the tension beneath the surface. But along with the little hints we get about the story itself, we also get moments where Anzu's true nature shines through, and we start to understand how she ended up the Student Council president and the brains of the plan to save Orai. Beyond just coming up with the Senshido plan, she engineered things to get Miho to participate, and then, during their first strategy meeting, she picks up on Miho's better understanding of things. So, she immediately promotes Miho to team captain, recognizing she's the best person for the job. And it might have been her plan all along. In fact, it wouldn't be out of the question to say that she had the Student Council not search for tanks earlier in order to encourage the different teams to bond and to achieve the satisfaction of finding and then restoring their vehicles. She knew Senshido would be a tough sell, so she did everything she could to make sure that those who signed up stayed enthusiastic and to provide them with as few opportunities or reasons to rethink and drop out. At the same time, though, she is sensitive enough to her teammates to try and keep things fun for them. That's really the main reason why they kept the truth about what's happening secret, and why she and the rest of the Student Council couldn't bring themselves to tell Miho this when they invited her for dinner in Episode 8. They didn't want to put even more pressure on her, and the others, before it was completely necessary. And when the time came, Anzu was completely forthright. That moment was as much a revelation for us as it was for the other characters, that despite how things might appear, Anzu has in fact been on the ball the whole time, working hard and doing whatever she can to save the school she loves, and where she made great friends and memories. And then, in the battle where Orai needs to make a desperate gambit, is when she acts, shedding her slacker act to take over the gunner's position and coordinate an extremely successful distraction to give Miho time to come up with a plan. Moments like this, and her interactions with Ren Tatsuji, are where Anzu truly shines. It's where she lets her intelligence, determination, and quick-thinking skills be seen. In the meeting, she immediately picks up on Renta's offhand remark on Senshido, and recognizing the opening she's been given, seizes it immediately. The fact that it's a long shot doesn't matter. It's something. We see this even more strongly in their film. When the announcement is made that Oroi was double-crossed and the school closed, she plays along while everyone's most hated government official is there, and provides encouragement to everyone. But you know she's seething inside, and already working on a plan of action. But that wasn't the time yet. Then, once she's satisfied that everyone is alright for the moment, she immediately runs off to gather every possible ally she can to give Oroi one more chance. And this time, she's learned from her previous mistake, and gets the promise in writing. This was such a Chad moment, and you could really tell that while she was probably of the lowest official status in the room, she was in complete control here, to the point where she was pretty much bullying our villain. Again, she takes advantage when offered the slightest bit of room to maneuver, even if the odds are terrible. Also, while it's not mentioned, I would not be shocked at all if she had a plan in the plot to bring in all of Oroi's friends to join the fight. It's the kind of thing she would do. But as tough as she can be when the moment calls for it, Anzu doesn't see displays of genuine emotion as beneath her at all. We see a little bit of that in episode 8, during and after her meal with Miho, and then again, both times Oroi wins. In particular, the moment in episode 12 really hits hard. Anzu doesn't need to show any over-the-top emotion, making this one of the most touching and heartfelt thank yous you'll ever see in an anime, or pretty much any work of fiction. At the end of their film, she's even less reserved, going in for a flying hug this time. You can tell that she really cares about Miho, despite having essentially forced her back into Senshido, and is truly grateful for everything she did for Oroi. Anzu, ultimately, is pretty much a perfect leader, especially for this group of girls. She's willing and able to do whatever is necessary to achieve a worthy goal, no matter how difficult. But she still cares for those she leads, and is more than happy to give them the credit they deserve, while not seeking glory for herself. She's also willing to stand beside her subordinates when things don't go well, as we saw back after the St. Gloriana battle. Despite the terms of the bet not requiring it, she decided that the student council had to also do the embarrassing anglerfish dance, and not just out of sympathy, but because she recognized that their poor performance had played a part in the loss. It's comparable, in a different setting of course, to the high-ranking military commander willingly fighting alongside his soldiers at the front line, despite the risk. All this combines to create a character who's really up there among my favorite anime characters of all time. Someone who, despite being accomplishes a whole lot and just commands your attention in every scene she's in. And as I may have joked already once before, in the Girls Und Panzer universe, she might well end up the Prime Minister of Japan, considering her personality and capabilities. She's just that powerful. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support me and what I do here, check out the links to my books and light novels below in the description. The link to my Patreon is down there as well. I've started sharing awesome updates, including completed pages, from my upcoming manga, Amaranth Angels over there, and there are other rewards as well. I've also got some cool merch over on TeePublic. And of course, if you have any thoughts on this video and Anzu as a character, or just anything Girls Und Panzer related you'd like me to talk about, definitely share them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them, and I do my best to read and eventually respond to all the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, I'll be doing another Girls Und Panzer Dream Tank Match livestream this Saturday at 2 p.m. EST, so be there for that. That's all for now, so until next time.